it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, I bring on the coolest, most amazing, awesome CEOs, entrepreneurs, authors, experts, and truly life changers who've gone through their own reinventions in life and have come out on the other side. And they come on this show to share their stories of success with us. And today I am super excited about my guest. Her name is Kim Seltzer. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Good. How are you, Diane? Good to be here.
I'm doing so great. I'm so excited to have you on the show and talk about this topic. And you guys, when you hear Kim's story, you're going to want to tune in, take notes, and pay attention to this show. So our theme for this week is how to attract love and money by the way you look. Okay? And our intention statement is this: I have today to let my beauty radiate on the outside and the inside. And when you hear what Kim does and how she's an expert at this, you're going to see how this applies to pretty much everywhere in your life. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about Kim before we hear her story. And I want to invite you to stick around till the end because we have some amazing free gifts for you. And we'll have all the details at the end. All right, so let me tell you about Kim. With a vat of knowledge and experience as a therapist, certified style and confidence coach, dating coach, and matchmaker, Kim Seltzer has helped thousands of people find lasting love and connection, attract success, and build valuable relationships using her unique confidence makeover process. Using an outside-in approach, Kim has changed lives by changing their style, emotional and social intelligence using her signature formula, the charisma quotient, working on body language, first impressions, image and messaging, and how it impacts attraction. This LA-based expert travels the country helping people discover confidence, charisma, and connection as a speaker at national matchmaking conferences, eHarmony, Neutrogena, the Guild at Universal, and iDate. Kim is also a regular contributor to the Huffington Post and DigitalRomance.com, with appearances in Cosmopolitan, Oprah Magazine, Redbook, Reader's Digest, Ask Men, Fox News Magazine, Yahoo Shine, and the Washington Examiner, among a myriad of other publications. You can also find Kim as a frequent co-host on the podcast, The Jordan Harbinger Show, with Jordan Harbinger, as well as acting as the leading love expert on the traveling live dating show, The Great Love Debate, and the cable reality dating show, The Romance. You can also listen to her now on her own podcast, The Charisma Quotient, and she is currently hosting the Flirt Academy workshops nationwide. Wow, Kim, what a bio! How awesome that you were.
Thank you.
But
you know what? I chuckle every time I hear my bio being played back to me because, you know, we were talking, I love just the whole premise of your show because it's about transformation, right? And honestly, I wouldn't be doing what I do hadn't I had my own transformation, to be honest. I mean, that's why I'm so passionate about doing what I do. I mean, my professional background's great, but if I didn't have kind of the stuff happen to me that kind of thrusted me into helping others, I don't think we would be talking, to be honest. You know, so it's interesting how our journey shapes us.
Yes, well, that's perfect segue because that's what we want to know. I mean, that's what I want to know. What happened to you that got you doing what you're doing now? What's your backstory?
Oh yeah, And I always talk about this before I even talk about what I do because, you know, had you seen me, oh my God, it must have been like 16, 17 years ago. You wouldn't have seen this. That's for sure. I looked very different and my mental state was different. But even before that, so I'm from Chicago and I practiced as a therapist for many, many years. I had kind of that traditional life, right? Fence, I had, you know, the couple kids, I had the dog, I even had the husband. I mean, everything was going on as planned, right? So then we all pick up and we move across the country to La La Land here. And I always joke then we did what all the other people here, we get a divorce. And obviously there were other issues going on, right, in this little fairy tale. But I mean, truth be told, that's where the record stopped. That's where my life as I knew it completely, like, it just halted.
Yes.
And, you know, like when you look ahead of you, sometimes there's a fork in the road, right? Like you could go one way or the other. And I have to tell you, I was not going down the right path. I was going down a very dark path and my clothes reflected it. So if you saw me back then, my closet was filled with dark, dismal clothes, a splash of beige here and there. I still had nursing bras on. Mind you, I was not pregnant any longer, but it showed you like how my mindset was, how stuck I was, right?
Yes.
And my clothes really was a metaphor for how I felt inside. So here's the thing that was so interesting about my journey is here I am, a therapist, right? I should know better, but you know, it's not always easy to help yourself, but still I got help. I had a great support system. My family flew in to help me, but I still couldn't get out of my own way.
Yeah.
So what happened, and this is what I'm going to share with you today, and the transformation that happened, is that besides being really obsessed with the show What Not to Wear, I decided to go shopping because I just remember looking in the mirror one day and hating what I saw. Like, I was like, who is this girl? Like, I called myself a girl because I felt so insecure. And here I thought I was really confident woman, you know, before this whole thing happened. But it completely blindsided me. And like, it's like all the pieces in the mirror just shattered to the ground.
Yes.
So I got so fed up that what does a girl do when nothing fits any longer? I go shopping.
Right.
This is where it all happened. So I go to the store and I'll never forget this. I was pulling all the same clothes, black, and I'm sure they were like 3 sizes too big still. And, you know, these were my comfy cocoon clothes, as I called it. I honestly didn't even want anybody to see me at that point. So this personal shopper, she comes up to me and she said, ma'am, I was watching you and I thought maybe you'd like to try this on. And she holds up a red dress that looked like 3 sizes too small. I said, that's so sweet of you, but that's really not my size. And that's so not my color. She goes, honey, that is your size. That is your color. Try it on. I was like, boom. You know, when someone kind of just hits you over the head and sends you a message where you're ready to receive it.
I love it.
I was ready to receive it. It was that moment. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this on. So I slip it on. And like Cinderella, I twirl around and I look at myself in the mirror. And it was like all the pieces that were shattered on the floor slowly like went back together. And I like see myself as this princess. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty. You know, I hadn't seen myself in so long. And it took that visceral experience where I felt different and I actually saw myself different that actually was where my life completely changed. So this is kind of the beginning of the new chapter of my life and the ending to the old one, because I bought the dress that day and I walked out into the world like it was like a costume. And yes. I called it even back then costume confidence, right? Where I just realized that I had to get used to being seen. And as that was happening, my confidence started growing as I was getting reinforced. And I realized there was this symbiotic relationship between the outer and the inner in terms of building my confidence and expressing who I was. So back then, I used to work from the inside out, but now I no longer believe that's true. I now work from the outside in and now help so many others attract what they want using this outside in process.
Yes.
So that's my story. Kind of a long-winded one, but it led me to where we're talking today.
I love so many things that you shared there. You know, thank goodness for that earth angel who came over to you and woke you up, you know, and was insisting that you do this, you know, insist that you tried it on. And yeah. And, you know, for those of you out there who are where Kim was, and you know, I've certainly had my black days too. You know, It is a wake-up call, and how you look on the, it doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter what age you are, how you look on the outside really does boost your confidence and make you feel better. And it is a reflection, like you said, of what's going on the outside really helps the inside, because so much work is inside. Like I work on the inside out, mostly. So I love this. I love this story. So, so what? Okay. So your background was you were a therapist for 10 years. You are now a matchmaker. You're also in image consulting, right? Am I missing anything? Dating coach.
Yeah, the dating coach. Mm-hmm.
Right. Speaker, presenter, all of that. So, what do you think is the number one thing that is in somebody's way from really opening up to not seeing that? Well, not opening them up, but what is the thing that's in the way that we're not seeing?
Quite honestly, themselves.
It's what?
I mean, really themselves. They're in their own way, just like how I was in my own way. And this is what I tell people all the time. I think a lot of times we are in our heads a lot, right? We're comparing ourselves to other. Maybe we have this feeling of not being good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, whatever kind of the monster or gremlin that's in your head. And normally, and this just as a therapist, I know this to be true, a lot of the things that have happened to us in the past really impact the way that we carry out ourselves into the future and in our present. And so if we'd had some negative experiences, right, or maybe a lack thereof, our confidence may not be up here. So that's how I define confidence. That's what's really interesting, is I'm very simplistic. I don't believe that there is someone out there that's not confident. Why? Because there's always an area that I find with every single person I work with where they are confident. And when you ask them, well, how did you get that way? They all say, well, I worked at it. I had practice. I had positive reinforcement. So, that's where I like to start. When I have my process with people, I really do act as a therapist. I like talking about mine today, because you can't help somebody move forward until we look at where someone came from. And everyone has a story. Everyone is shaped differently, right? And so what I like about the outside in process is, instead of attacking it from sitting and talking about somebody's body image, I much rather go show them how beautiful they are by teaching them about their body type, what clothes flatter their body type, so that they can actually see it to believe it.
Yes.
Right. And so that's, I mean, it almost sounds like fairy tale-ish, but it kind of is. I mean, there's not too many things in life that, is this instant kind of result, right? The inside stuff takes way more work, but I feel like when I do my makeovers, when I go out in the field and I help people flirt and work with their body language, and they get a different response, I see people's confidence soar in such a faster rate.
Yes. That's beautiful. I love that. And faster and quick, in terms of that's really boosting, that boost, you feel better about yourself. And that is the ultimate goal anyway. We truly want to love ourselves and accept ourselves unconditionally. And, my own personal experience for a long time, I did wear dark color. I wasn't happy. My own story is, if you don't know it, you can go to my website at dianeforster.com and read the whole story. But the same thing, I would walk into a store and I really didn't even know what I liked or what would look good on me or, any of that. And so it was daunting and scary. So, but if I had, like what you're teaching, if I had that, if I knew the formula, that would make it so much better. So for somebody out there who's feeling like they're frumpy dumpy and they're wearing 10-year-old underwear and nursing bras and stretched out clothes, it's time for you to look into working with Kim.
Well, and you know what's really exciting about it is that I always say it's the small wins that add up to the bigger success, right?
Yes.
And so it's, people can get overwhelmed with this stuff, and what I find is that especially women, we have so many body image issues, and it all relates to either our upbringing or, things that we've had going on, or aging is a big part of it as well. And so I like to start small, and I have a formula, and I'd like to share it with your audience because it's something that everybody can do like right now. And I call it the 3C formula.
Okay.
And it's basically doing an assessment of the 3 C's. First of all, looking at color, like if you look in your closet, was it like mine way back in the dark ages, like yours, where it's all black? And what are the reasons for it besides living in New York? Okay, because we understand New York is very dark, but that's the style. But could you incorporate a little color? And what is it about color that might be scary? And if it's something that's scary, I always say then move towards it, not away from it, because that means something you need to do to shift, to change.
Yes.
Putting on that red dress was not an easy task, let me tell you, but because I pushed myself, I got an amazing result out of it. But I had to work at it. So I like to teach people what colors flatter their skin tone and to really play with it. If you're trying to attract the opposite sex, there's nothing like color. There's a ton of research out there that color attracts. It's just plain and simple. So if you have an online profile, or even if a LinkedIn profile, success, money, love, it's all the same. It all works the same, so that's huge. The second C is the cut. Now, this is what I love teaching, and I have a free gift at the end, which I'll share. I'm doing a little teaser, as you can see, that goes over, if you know your body type, and then you know what cuts flatter that body type, it actually can really boost your confidence. Because I find that 9 times out of 10, people are just putting on the wrong thing, and they're hypothesizing that they don't look good in anything. So then they get frustrated, right? Yeah. And then they, leave, or they pull the wrong thing, or they'll buy something that doesn't look good on them. They're like, ugh, I hate my body. I was shopping with this group of women. This is the most profound, if you don't mind me sharing the story, because it really highlights what we're talking about. She was amongst 9 women. I had 2 hours to go shopping with 9 women.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shoot. Can you imagine?
No.
I mean, it's hard enough with 1 woman. And I only had 2 stores to pick from here in Santa Monica. So I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Amazingly, 1 store like fit everybody, but there was 1 particular woman that brand didn't fit. And everyone's excited at the cash register, and they're all celebrating. And then I see this woman, and she's crying in the corner. And I go up to her. I said, what's wrong? And she's like, this is just like junior high all over again. Like, I'm the ugly duckling. I'm the one that doesn't get to go to the prom. I hate wearing dresses. I can't wear dresses. I don't even know why I'm here. So I spent a little extra time with her, and thank God the second store worked for her. So I said, come on, let's go. This has nothing to do with you. This actually has everything to do with the store. This store, this brand isn't fitting your body type. That's plain and simple.
Right.
So we went to the other store, and oh my God, she came out like a butterfly, wearing all these dresses that fit her like a T. She's actually on my website, seltzerstyle.com, and you can see the before and after. Like, before she looked like a librarian, and afterwards she looks like this like gorgeous like model, and her confidence soared after that. And once that transformation happened, that hypothesis of, oh, I can't wear a dress and I'm not pretty enough, completely went away. It was huge in terms of her, confidence. So that's the second C, is the cut. And the third C is your confidence close. And I always say if you go into your closet right now, you know that you have a couple go-to outfits. Like if you have a special occasion, a date, a social event, that you'll pull every single time. Figure out what it is about those clothes that work for you, and just get more. Have you been complimented in it? Do you like the way it feels on your body? Like there's usually some elements that really work for you that also can boost your confidence. So those 3 C's are something that everybody can do right now.
I love that. So color, cut, and something you feel confident in. Yeah, if I find something that I like, a style of dress, I will get it in every color.
Oh, good for you. Yeah.
I love that, something that's, fits really well, looks really good on, it's, it wears well, it travels well. Those are like gold mine finds, right? Okay.
It really is. Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, one thing that really, because I get a lot of pushback from sometimes people when they're going shopping or just working on their image, and they say, if someone doesn't like me for me, then, forget them. And what we're talking about here is that it's not changing who you are. It's about marketing yourself so that a person gets to know who you are. Because if the outside is incongruent with who you are inside or who you're trying to be and attract, then there's confusion, or maybe you're not getting kind of that attraction that you're going for. This has to do with abundance. I talk in many businesses about how you can achieve ROI with your wardrobe, because image does matter, and it's both outside and in.
Mm-hmm. I agree so much. I'll never forget. I'm going to share a little story here. I believe that I would much rather personally always overdress than underdress. I'd always rather be the more dressed up person in the room than the least dressed up person in the room, because image does matter. And it does. It is an attractor for love, for romance, for connection, for business. It's the image you are portraying to the world, and it is that first impression thing, and it matters. It's really important. So people can't see your insides first. They see the outside first. So yeah,
exactly.
So I went many, many years ago when I was still married. My ex and I were attending a wedding, and it turned out to be anyway, long story, but they downsized the wedding and they made it a more casual wedding, sort of the week before. And so I was all dressed for the wedding, and I wasn't decked out or anything. I just had on a nice outfit. And he said, "You're way too dressed for this wedding. They made it more casual." And I changed my clothes, and I was uncomfortable the entire day. And I walked in, and the outfit that I originally had on was perfect for the wedding. And I said, I am never again going against my gut, or listening to anybody else's opinion. I'm going to wear what makes me feel good. So that's so powerful, right? Yeah.
I love that. That's a great story too. And it's, it is ways for you to express yourself and show up the authentic you. Sometimes people feel like, well, I don't want someone throwing on superficial cookie cutter looks, and I would never do that, because for me, it's important to find out who you are in the world, what your lifestyle is, what the occasions are that you're thinking about, and teaching you about your body type. Because what looks good on somebody else, and a model or the mannequin, doesn't mean that it's going to work for your body type. But you could get something that works for you, and then like you'll go into a party like you said, and you'll feel good when you have that thing on. And what I was going to mention, you talked about first impressions. When there's a lot of research that's done, I'm not just saying these things being this LA girl stylist, I always kind of have to back it up with research, is that when they look in the brain, on first impressions, it's really fascinating. Two things happen. And it happens, well, they used to say 30 seconds, but now with Bumble and Tinder, it's way quicker for sure. That within those split seconds, people are making judgments and assumptions on two things. Number one, your clothes. Number two, your body language and your attitude. So what you say isn't even as important as how you show up, which is huge. It can break so many barriers, and that's why it's amazing once you do have that about you. And then from there, of course, there's other things and other elements. And that's why I like working from there with people's emotional intelligence and how they express themselves, their body language, how they interact, their social skills, all of that matters.
Yes.
But it's so powerful.
Yes. Okay. So this is a great conversation, and I know we could talk about so many other things, and maybe we'll have to have you on another show, because we should definitely get into, dressing and confidence in dating and love and other areas. But because because it's so important. And this is just like the first step for you. And I think,
Right.
Kim, I think anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you are really stylish, just getting somebody else's opinion to take a look in. And so how might I improve this a little bit or tweak this a little bit is never a bad idea. It's a good idea, right?
Oh my God. I'm really glad you mentioned that. I know we're wrapping up, but just on that end note is that sometimes people will come to me and say, hey, Kim, I'm good with my style. I just want dating advice. Right. And I don't need, I have really nice clothes. Like we don't need to do that. But then they show up and I'm like, they may be nice clothes, but it's not something that would attract a man. So we might wear things because maybe as women, we like it on each other, but it's not necessarily what a man likes. Same thing for business. Like people may show up in this great outfit, but maybe it's not on point for the occasion and what they're trying to attract in the room. So it is really powerful to take a look at that stuff.
Yes. I was on a breakfast or a coffee date last week and I was dressed, I was coming in and we were going to do some shooting for the show. And I wasn't overly dressed or anything. I was just dressed nice in nice color. And he absolutely loved that outfit. Like he kept saying, you look amazing. You look amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I wouldn't have thought that. If this was like a dinner date, I would never have worn that. But it's right. You just don't know. So it's really cool. Really, really cool.
Image matters.
It matters so much. It really does. And like we said, it's your first impression. So, and we can't see ourselves, which is the other point that we were making. So,
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
That's why I love doing the wing girl sessions. So yeah, I help. It's like holding a mirror in front of people.
Oh, yeah.
Wing girl sessions. I go out with people and I help them flirt and meet, people out in the wild, so to speak. And it's really powerful because to your point, I mean, people just can't see themselves. They don't know what they don't know. So it's almost like holding up a mirror and saying, hey, if you just change the way that your body language is and how your energy level, it makes a huge difference in the way that other people see you.
It does. It makes such a huge difference. And I another story about me this weekend, I went to an event over the weekend and it was this beautiful gala that I went to and it was a cocktail party and then a reception. And I'm sitting at a table and this gentleman comes and sits next to me and, I was of course dressed nice, but we're having a lovely conversation. I felt good. I felt, I felt attractive, all of those things. I had a high level of confidence. And I was really engaged. And this is the point I want to make at the beginning. I was feeling good about me. There was no sense of insecurity. So when you feel good about you, you really open yourself up to really hear somebody else and listen to somebody else. So I was very interested in learning about him and what he does and his business and all of that. We ended up having this amazing conversation. Maybe collaborating down the road. But at the end of the night, he just said, thank you. And he leaned over and he kissed me like so hard on the cheek in the nice, like, cause he felt so seen and heard by someone who was genuinely interested. And that's how simple it is to make a connection, but it started because of where I was. So when and there were other people at the table who were not that way, let me tell you. I didn't want to say anything because you could just tell when people are shut off and you can try and break through that barrier, but they're just not going to let you in. And so, this is your work is so important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but that was a beautiful example and story. And I'll kind of end with this mantra is that this isn't about the man or the woman or, this is all about you. And when you love you, other people will too. Yes. End of story.
End of story. Yeah. That's what we're all about here at I Have Today is self-love and self-worth. All right, Kim. So I have to ask you one question that I ask all my guests. How do you live the I Have Today way? Intentionally in the present moment?
Oh my gosh, I actually live by that because, I find that so many people, especially as we get older, we've had more life experiences, right? I find that a lot of people are either worried about the past or we're carrying the baggage with us, and it's heavy. It can be really heavy and it can really affect the way you see things. It could be your mindset, your approach because of the heaviness. Or people are so attached to the outcome and the future that there's all this anxiety about what should be and what could be and am I good enough and all that. But what I tell people and how I live today is that what if you let go of the past and not worry about the future, but just stay present and worry about today, how different your life could be. Because when you are grounded, when you are present, that's what creates connection, to be honest. That's what creates opportunities. Because if you lose sight of that, you're missing something.
Yes. Yeah. Powerful. I love it. I love it. Okay, so will you please share with the audience how they can find out about information about you and share your free gifts with the audience?
Yes, well, I did a little teaser about the gift. So I actually work with men and women, so I have a free gift for both genders. For women, I have the free body type guide, which goes over the 5 body types. There are 5. And it teaches you how to measure yourself to determine what body shape you are. Now, what I want to say, this has nothing to do with your weight. This actually has to do with your bone structure.
Right.
Obviously, there's other elements like how tall you are, how big your boobs are, all of that stuff goes into play. But for what I like about this guide is at least it gives you some sort of blueprint where you can see what overall flatters your body type and what clothes to stay away from. So it's a good cheat sheet and a good first step. And then for the men, of course, I have a man's fashion manifesto because let's face it, fashion is important for men and they secretly do want to know. They're not sitting around on a Sunday afternoon usually talking about clothes, but secretly they want to know this stuff,
Yeah.
So yeah, so it goes over body types. There's not as many for men. There's only 3, but also I give tips on grooming and styling and fashion for men. So you can go to my site, seltzerstyle.com, but I have a link for your people that they can click right on and make it very easy. And of course, you can also find me on my podcast, Charisma Quotient.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we will have links for all of that down on the podcast page at dianeforster.com, obviously on YouTube and iTunes and all the podcasting streams as well. So we'll have an easy access for everyone to find it there, which is great. So that's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Then one of the other things that is important that I've recently discovered is in the work that I'm doing is when I first started my journey, the statistics were that 67% of people said that they were unhappy, and now it's up to 90%. 90% of people are saying they're unhappy. Suicide rates are at an all-time high. Depression, it's just debilitating. So I wanted to do something about it. And so I created the happiness formula, which will help you in 21 days or less figure out specifically what happiness means to you, what it looks like, and how to get it. And there are things that you need to be doing that I promise you, if you're not feeling happy, you're not doing these things. And there are also key things that you need to be removing from your life. So if you want to find out more information about that, we'll have a link for that as well. And just check it out. Just find out more information about it. So, well, Kim, hello, I just want to say it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I want to say hello, my new girlfriend, because I feel like there's a lot of symmetry here. And totally. I love like-minded people collaborating together, and we're all in this together doing this work. And what you do is so valuable and so important. And so I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation for coming to spend time with us at I Have Today and sharing this with the audience. So
thank you. And thanks for having me, and right back at you. Love what you're doing too.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode of I Have Today. Don't forget, there'll be information and all the links in the description section, and we will see you next time. I'm Diane Forster. Take care. Bye-bye.